Have you ever walked through a salvage yard, looked at a car or truck, and you wondered, how did this get here? Why is this even here? It's nicer than what I'm buying parts for. And now that I own a salvage yard and I run a yard, I see how that happens. People donate cars, they get in little fender benders, insurance companies just want to write everything off. Cars go to the auction and it doesn't get fixed. Somebody buys it that runs a yard like I do, or maybe it goes to one of the self-service yards where they don't care what they buy, they just have to buy something that is under a certain price range. Well, sometimes that really bothers me, enough to do something about it. And I did something about it when I bought that 87 Ford Ranger. Oh God, it's been quite some time ago. And well, I did it again. I'm a product of the 80s and 90s. And when I find stuff at the auction that looks clean enough to salvage, and I know that if I don't bid on it, self-service yard's going to bid on it, set it out in the yard, it'll get a few parts pulled off of it, and then that makes me sad. This truck deserves a second chance. It's a 97 Ford F250. It's 5.8 two-wheel drive. This is the last of the OBS Ford Trucks, my favorite Ford trucks of all time. I love these things. And for a Midwestern truck, it's actually pretty decent. Yes, it looks terrible. It's covered in moss and mold and gunk, but it has lower fenders and rockers and cab corners. Those are three things missing from most Midwestern OBS Fords. And that's why I threw a cheap bid on it, thinking that someone will outbid me. No one outbid me. I got it for $500 plus fees and transport. I'm in it just under $900. I don't really think that's that terrible, but I definitely don't need any more projects. I think the goal with this is going to be one video, this one. We're going to find out what is wrong with it, maybe why it was parked, see if we can make it run and drive, and then one of you has a chance to buy it. I want to sell it to someone. I know these OBS trucks are very popular. They're hard to find in this condition, minus the mold and gunk stuff. And it needs to be done. This truck needs to go back on the road. Before I threw a bid on this thing, I did a Carfax on it because I like to know what I'm getting into. And it turns out that this thing has been sitting since 2013 or maybe less. That's the last time this thing was registered. So 8 to 10 years, I would guess, which isn't nearly as bad as the Ford Ranger was, but it's still quite long enough for things to need a whole bunch of work. So I may need to buy some parts for it. I don't have another OBS Ford here to rip things off of to get it on the road cheap. So hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe a gas tank and a fuel pump. That's what I'm hoping. Either way, we're going to look at the gas before we make that determination. There's a lot of things we need to check out on this truck, but I can't do it here. I have too many cars up here. This has got to come home. So I'm going to have to get a wheel and tire on the left front and get it on the trailer and get it home. It's going to work. I don't need the winch. I've got gravity. Ooh, it's comfy in here. Ooh, it has a little smell to it. It's fine. Let's see here. We need to pull the parking brake off. Where is the parking? Oh, there's brake release. Okay. Keys in the on position. I got a brake pedal. I got crank windows. Let's put the window down. It's gonna work. Oh yeah, we're moving. Oh no, that didn't work at all. It'll be fine. I'm going to preemptively put this up here for safety. Also, it's not too big for the trailer. Uh-oh. That's not good. Why did it do that? Oh, we'll just force it. Yeah, nothing bad can happen. Alright, I need to adjust wheels. Before you say anything, it has a Chevy wheel on it. I know. It was the only thing I had that would fit on the truck that held air. And getting it back here, getting it actually just to my house was, I don't want to talk about it, but it's here. It's been here for months, and I got to do something with it. So let's see if it runs. Yeah, let's see if it runs. It'll run. Well, let's take a peek on the inside here. Crank windows, vinyl floor, just the way I like it. It's actually pretty nice in here. Dash isn't cracked. What does this look like under here? Not bad. I don't think that was purple to begin with. Probably faded. So, they said it didn't have a key at the auction, but it does. So that's good. That's one less thing I got to contend with. The inside of this thing is actually pretty nice, and it doesn't even... It just smells like an old Ford. It doesn't smell like mice or anything bad. It doesn't smell like it's been a smoker's truck. 3 pennies. Just got cheaper. Let's pop the hood. So I don't think I've really been underneath here. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Can I do this with one hand? Should I do this with one hand? Yes, I can do this with one hand. Well, it somehow looks better than the Ranger did, but it also, I think it sat for half as long. It's got a Duracell battery. Let's see if we can find a date on this thing. Maybe later. I don't see any dates on it, but we'll get that out of there. That's going to have no voltage. But more importantly, the wiring harness does not appear to be consumed by the rodents. It looks like it's got some rodents in the area, but I don't see anything chewed on. So that's a good sign. Does it have any coolant in it? Negative. Okay. Coolant can't go bad if it's not there. Does it have any oil in it? Yes. Oil is present. So now we're going to see if the engine turns over. We'll get the battery out of... Actually, no. We just need to see if we can get this engine to turn over. That's gonna be fun. Okay, here we go. Will it turn over? Oh yeah, it's not stuck. Let's see if we can get a full revolution out of it. I can feel some compression, or not so great stuff. I don't know. It's either good or it's bad. I think we're good. I think we can take the battery out of this thing. Maybe put another battery in it. All right, well, let's get the battery out of this thing. Wow. Terminals are coming apart. That's good. All right, now I know this isn't gonna do it, but all of my batteries are cold right now, so we're just going to use my dinky jump box here. It's gonna be fine. Okay, contact. Ooh, I hear a door buzzer. Let's go see what we have on the odometer. Looks like 195,000 miles. Under 200K. Should I turn the key? I think I'm gonna turn the key. It doesn't really sound great, does it? It's definitely not gonna start. But it does turn over, so I guess that's a good sign. We got dash lights, check engine lights on, which means there is something coming from the ECM. So that's a plus. The next thing I need to do is check for spark. So I've got a spark tester here. That's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be the easiest thing as long as I don't ruin a spark plug wire trying to get it off. And there's no guarantee that this is gonna work, but it's fine. Well, it rotates. There we go, we're fine. Plug your spark tester in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it while I crank it, plus I'm going to have to get something else for a battery, but it's going to be fine. See if we've got spark. I need more battery. Well, this isn't the right battery. This is one out of the Mystic, or for the Mystic, but it's fine. It has the same number of volts in it. For what we're going to do, it's going to be just fine. That's good. All right, let's see how it cranks now. Now that it has some proper voltage. Oh yeah. Much better. This thing's gonna run. Let's check for spark. Now that we have a proper battery in here, and if we got spark, I'll put this plug wire back on, give it a little bit of starting fluid. Okay, let's see if we got spark. Let me review footage. We do not have spark at the plug, so we'll work backwards and we'll see if we have spark going to the distributor. We'll pull the wire off the cap, which is loose. And let's see if that changes anything. All right, let's try it again. Oh, it's got oil pressure. Okay, so that's good. We have spark coming from the coil. It's just the distributor is not distributing it where it needs to go. So now we need to pull the cap and have a look at the rotor. I bet that looks beautiful inside of there. Let's we're gonna see if we can pop this off without doing any actual work here. Oh. Okay, so that's pretty ugly. I'm gonna get this all cleaned up a little bit. And we're going to see if that does anything for us. Yeah, that's rough, but I think there's some dirty contacts in here. I think we'll be okay. So that's what the contacts look like. It's not good. Not good at all, but we'll get it cleaned up. Let's see if we get some spark to the plugs. Okay, let's blow all this out here.
This truck is so tall.
So now we're going to go back to the plug wire and check that for spark and see if we got spark there now. Testing. When I pulled the intake tube off, it doesn't look too good inside of here. It's a little corroded, but it'll be fine. Let's see, does this open? Can we open this here? Yeah, it opens. I think that's enough. You never want to give it too much. All right, let's turn the key and see what happens. Oh, it liked that. Let's do that again. Let's suck that down fast. Big old V8. Let's give it as much as it could use. I got my mic disconnected so we can see what it sounds like. Sounds good. It's got oil pressure. Turn the key. It runs okay. It's got oil pressure. That's great. All right, now that we have spark, we know it runs with a little bit of starting fluid. We need to look at the fuel system. And yes, this has two filler necks. because it has 2 gas tanks. So most of these trucks have 2 tanks. It has a saddle tank right here. Oh, it's a scaly. And then there's another tank back here. So I did some digging on the ARPANET, and ooh, that doesn't look too good either. Basically, I'm gonna try to get one of these tanks going. And at least when I say one of these tanks, I'm gonna replace one of these tanks, and it's gonna be this one. I chose to replace this one because it looks like the easiest. It is by far the cheapest. I bought one online, should be here tomorrow, but we need to get this out. I need to blow all the junk out of the fuel line between here and the engine, and I also need to not get any rust in my eyes in the process. We'll see if that's even possible. So I haven't really looked around this truck very much. I've been focused on trying to get it running, but since we're waiting on parts, let's take a peek at what may lie inside. So let's tilt this back. Let's set that there. What have we back here? A towel, half a quart of 1030. Let's save that. What's over there? We got any waspers? Are those alive? Those all look old. Please be old. What is in this? It's a bag of bags. What is this? I have no idea. It's new. And then we have headlight bulb, owner's manual, keys. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Could these unlock this? The other side is open because it's got one of the doors ripped off of it, or the hinges are bad. There's like Eberhard. Is that the right brand? Come on. Oh, come on. Please. I don't want to have to break into this. I will. You know I will. These keys are in great shape. Ooh, that's promising. Let's go to one of the other locks. Oh, come on. One of these. What else would these be for? Okay. Oh man, I was really hoping to get in the side. There could be like stacks of cash in here, briefcases full of hundreds, you know. That's what would be in a 97 F250. This side's missing the door, and I'm pretty sure it's inside the back here with the botanical plants and stuff. But we can see in here, and it looks like there's a broomstick handle, a wasp nest, a whole broom, and a nest of some kind, antifreeze. Boy, I wonder if that's water or antifreeze. And milk. Well, that seems like a bad choice. This one's going to be easiest. I think it's going to be this one. And this may not work either. Oh, I don't think that's going to work. No! Well, I picked the dullest bit on the planet for this idea. It could be open. It could be unlocked. Oh no, that's gonna break. Yeah. All right. Well, first thing I need to do is find a way to get spare tire carrier out. There's no spare tire anymore. She's gone. Everything's all a little crusty. Okay, well that doesn't want to do that, so let's go to this one. Oh, that one doesn't come out. I mean, I can get it out, I just don't know if I can get it back in. It also looks like this tank is leaking a little bit. I don't see. I don't know what that is. I should have done that. I think I need to rotate this. Oh, it rotates. It stopped rotating. Looks like it's kind of crusty under here. I really just want to clean out this. Oh, hey. That is great. Now I've got 4 bolts for the tank straps, which, there ain't no way. There's not a possibility that they're coming out. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try. Okay, this is gonna be the first one I try. I got this soaked in some penetrator. Got my air out here. It's gonna be okay. Got safety glasses. Alright, what's gonna happen when I pull this trigger? Well, it's turning. Is there a bolt on the backside? Oh, you little sneaky little. Alright, let's go get a wrench. No way! What? That looked terrible. And it's out. Ooh, it's hot. Very hot. Ow, why did I touch that? Wow. I can't tell you how surprising that is that the strap came out. Can we get 3? That's gonna be a big ask here. What is going on here? How is that possible? It's so bad looking. Last one, here we go. I can't believe I got 3 out of 4 out. If this breaks, I won't even be a little mad. Unbelievable. I could have gone without that. Unbelievable. I could have gone without that. A little extra iron, I guess. Can I get this? There we go. Oh, she's been leaking. Okay, let's see if we can get this clamp loose. Yeah, that's how it comes apart. I mean, that's how it came apart, I guess. I need to get that 30-year-old rubber hose off of there. Okay, I'm just gonna lower it and see what happens. I mean, I can go back up, I guess. I also don't know how much gas is in here. Oh, okay, the tank is stationary. It smells really bad. It really does look like this hitch is gonna have to come out. Those bolts are not gonna survive that ordeal. Let's get this hitch out of the way. I'm sure this will be fine. There's one. Broke. Well, one's broken. One is kind of turning. Wow. There's one bolt off, one bolt broken. Broken. Yeah. We're doing pretty good here. You know, only breaking 2. Oh, this one has wires running through it. Who did this? It's laughing at me. I guess we get the breaker bar out. That's what we're gonna do. Hey, that's a good sound. Oh no! Well, I broke the capture nut thing off because it's a Ford and that's what they use instead of nuts and bolts. You can just brake, it's fine. I don't think that's doing anything. I think that's, yeah. Let's see if the impact will do anything. Okay, we're gonna play with some inductive heat right now. I got 5 volts out of the 6. 2 broke off, which It's whatever, those are extras. Now I need to get this last one out. Eventually, maybe. What do they look like here? Oh, and that's not what I wanted to happen. Make this thing glow red, or orange, or white. I don't think I got it. Nope, it didn't even budge. Yeah, I'm through with this. I don't know what to do. Sometimes you've just had enough. You just get to a point where you just gotta use other means. So this is the bolt that was so much trouble, and this is what I had to break. And this is just a lag bolt, and what happened is it stripped out where it sits. So it can still be bolted up if it survived whatever. Hitches are not that big of a deal. That probably will come out there. This one came out. I think some came out on this side. So now I got to get this rear bumper off because that keeps the gas tank from coming out. If this was a regular pickup truck, this would not have been an ordeal, but because it is a service bed, all this extra stuff, and the fact that they didn't trim this, if they had just, you know, that would have come out just fine. I wouldn't have to do any of this. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, look how far we are. The gas tank's still in the truck. Now all that's left, I've got both bolts out on this side, but they're in their holes, so they're keeping the bumper up. This side has one that turns sideways because they use the incorrect size washer. Thanks, guys, whoever you are in the 90s. And once I can get that off, these lock nuts too, wonderful. And we'll get it off. It's gonna come off. We're gonna get this bumper off so we can get this gas tank out so we can get it to run. All this to put a tank in it. I'm starting to regret which tank I decided to replace. I just have to knock 3 bolts out of it. That seems simple. All the bolts are out. And now I can actually remove the gas tank. All I've got are 2 fuel lines, an electrical connector, and the filler neck. Seems easy. How bad? I shouldn't say that. Nope, we're not going to say that. We're just going to get the gas tank out, and it's going to be fine. Let's see if we can lower this down a little. Oh, is that it? Now what are you caught on? Oh, the exhaust is a little in the way, but we can get around that. I'm not going to even touch the exhaust on this thing. There's no way. I can kind of see. I need to work on that filler neck some more. This might be hard to see up there, but I have some like release clips on the fuel line. Wow. Doesn't want to come off. Let's see if we can get a little more. All right. I think I'm there. I've got both fuel lines done, which that wasn't fun. I'm going to talk about it. Electrical's done. Filler neck's done. Oh, and then there's this CVAP line. Let's see if we can just do this by doing this. Yeah. There's still some liquid in here, but not much. Well, the man in the truck delivered something today. There's a connector. There's the 2 lines. Looks like I gotta swap a grommet over. I guess they give you a new connector if yours is not wanting to come apart, but I got mine apart. Some new straps. I'm sure this will just pop right in. Just want to get this sitting on the jack. Filler neck, electrical, 2 hoses. Seems simple, and then I gotta put the straps on it, which that won't be too bad. That'll probably be the easiest part of the whole thing. Filler neck, that's what's left. Well, after a long night, the tank is in. That was probably the roughest gas tank I've ever had to do, and I don't think it would have been nearly as bad if this wasn't a service bed, but couple the fact that it has a service bed with it's a Midwest truck. Didn't care for that at all. It's done. And now it's got gas in it. It's got about 5.5, 6 gallons in it. And we're going to connect the battery, see if it starts. Now I got to check to see, fuel gauge should read like a quarter tank. It's the rear. And it is consistently dropping. Wait. Haha. It's at least electrically it's working. There's a switch here on the dash to swap between tanks, and there still could be a problem with the valves, and it could be a problem. So that was a fluke. Probably starting fluid. It almost started. It's obviously got spark. Now I'm just worried about injectors. That old fuel sitting in them. That's going to be a lot of fun to get to. These small block Fords. One side's easy, the other side's... Nah, easy's not the word I'd use. Could always get the hammer out. Worked on the Ranger. What the hell, let's try it. I'm not going too crazy. I can kind of get to some of these. I'm sure this is going to do absolutely nothing. Let's see if there's any change. Where do we go from here? We need to see if we've got injector pulse. And I mean, you could have a computer problem. These things are notorious for that. We could go and take that out and have a look. I've got the fuel pressure gauge hooked up. I removed the core from the rail, so that way the actual core that's in the fitting, the adapter, is the only valve essentially. So now let's crank it and see what kind of fuel pressure we get. All right, once more. All right, so it gets up to where it's supposed to, but it looks like it's bleeding down, and it's probably one injector. I've got a Noid light plugged into the injector, front injector on the driver's side bank. We're going to see if that flashes. I'll have to review the footage because I can't look at the same time. Okay, I've got injector pulse, which is great. That gives me hope that the computer is okay, but the more I think about this, the more it feels like it's got injectors that are unhappy. And unfortunately, to get to the rear bank, that means I have to pull the upper intake, which means I'm going to have to buy a gasket and whatever else breaks when I take this apart. All right, the next thing we're going to do is test fuel pressure drop. And I know it's kind of hard to do on a system that's bleeding down, but we're going to make the best of it. I've got a divorced pigtail, just a regular injector pigtail plugged into one of the injectors, and I'm going to apply voltage to it while we watch the pressure gauge after we stop cranking. If while I pulse this manually the fuel gauge drops, then we know that injector is releasing fuel. But my suspicions is that it's not going to happen because the injectors are clogged or plugged. This is a good way to test to see if the injectors are the problem. Obviously, we know we have fuel pressure. We know we have injector pulse. We've tested that with the Noid light. At this point, it's down to injectors, and we're just going to verify that with this test. All right, now we're going to crank it. All right, we do have some pressure. It is dropping kind of slowly. Now we're going to connect, and it is not doing anything. Yeah, that is not doing anything. It's sparking on the battery here, and while that fuel pressure is dropping, if I open this injector, it should just drop. So that injector is not letting fuel pass. At this point, I know what I need to do. It's time to tear the plenum off and pull all the injectors so we can have them cleaned. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. How bad could that be? So now I get the super fun task of stripping everything down and getting the upper manifold off. It's going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong. Stuff's already going wrong. Well, I sprayed some penetrator on the EGR pipe. Please don't be a problem. Please. Oh, it feels like a problem. I just need this to come off the right way, please. Oh. Okay. Well, it's loose on the valve, but it is not loose on the pipe. I'm just going to keep moving it back and forth a little bit, see if we can work it free. That's the benefit of working on old trucks. Stuff is all stuck together. More penetrator. No, it's stuck. All right, I think I've got it freed from the pipe. Will I be able to get this? I'm just gonna go nice and ginger. Look at that. A little extra care goes a long way. Give it some more penetrator. I think we're getting close. Boom! That EGR pipe was probably my biggest concern about this whole task, because if I screw that up, there's not a lot of coming back besides a lot of work. It hit the ground. All right, what else holds this contraption on? Oh, I can get that out of the way. Let's get some easy ones here. In my head, there's just a few more bolts. Whether that's real or not, let's find out. By my calculations, since I've already pulled out 4 bolts, I only have 2 left that hold the plenum to the lower manifold. Those are the easy ones I've left for last, the easy ones. All right, so there is a T40 as the buried bolt here. We're going to get that out next. It's in. Now, retrieving the bolt? Haha, maybe. We're going to try to get a magnet before we lose that. Success. All right, now we're going to shake the intake. How free is this? Hey, that's pretty good. What else have we got? Oh yeah, we're close. Some stuff here. I gotta be careful with these connectors. Don't want to break anything. Well, I can almost taste it. That's not the right tool for that, I know. But you know what? It's the tool I got. Let's get the right tool. Ow! Jerk. Looks like a coolant line down here. I typically don't like using that on, old clamps, but it made short work of that. We are making some progress here. I think we're almost ready to try to pry the intake off of it. Even though there's still a whole lot of stuff that's connected, it's going to be okay. When I say it's going to be okay, I don't know that. I'm just hoping. Okay, so I got an idle air control motor connector. Oh, I should probably take the cap off. That would be like really easy. And it would definitely get it more out of the way. Oh, I think we're close, guys. I think we're real close. Would you look at that? That wasn't too bad. It was much easier than I anticipated. Well, yuck. But that's okay. We're going to get the vacuum out, clean all this up. I don't see anything too chewed through, but we got to get a closer look. That could be part of the non-running issue, but I don't believe that's the only issue. So we're still going to pull the injectors. We're still going to get them cleaned. And if we need to make any wiring repairs, we'll do that with the manifold off. looks a lot better, but you can definitely tell some of the wires have been chewed. I don't know if they've been chewed all the way through, but I'm still going to have to repair it. I could leave it. I'm not going to leave it. So now that we've got this far, it's time to pop these injectors out so I can get them cleaned, and then we can make our wiring repair while they're getting cleaned. Well, I just got all the injector clips removed, and let me express to you how much fun that was. So now I have what appears to be 4 bolts to hold the rail to the lower manifold, and I should be able to pop these injectors out as I continue to drop tools all over my driveway. Now, I knew this was going to be a fight, but let's see how much of a fight this actually is. Now I need to figure out how to get the actual injectors out, since they didn't come off with the rail. Okay, so we have one. Hey, look. 2 injectors. To call these stuck is appropriate. All right, I'm down to 2 injectors left. Of course, I left everything on here, which makes things so much easier because I'm stubborn and I don't like touching things that I don't have to. One down. Oh, 1 to go. Now this one looks to have come out of the manifold and it's still on the rail, so I don't know if that's good or bad. Yeah. And we're out. Injectors are out. I've replaced both of the injector connectors that were both chewed through and broken. I think one was broken. It's not the prettiest job, but it's also not the prettiest truck. Here's a chewed through wiring. It's pretty corroded. Yeah. I don't think that was the reason it only fired on 1 cylinder. I think it was the injectors. I have some pretty unfortunate news. It seems that only one of those injectors was salvageable. I dropped them off at my buddy's place. I ran through the sonic cleaner, tried everything to get them to open up again. And the only one that worked was the one that worked before, which is why it fired on 1 cylinder. So I had to buy some injectors. Bought the finest injectors that $50 could possibly buy. I'm sure I have the greatest expectation for these. They're all plastic. These are Ford 19-pounders. Now, I was warned that I should make sure that these click before I go through the effort to install them. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that by giving it 12 volts and using my ears, our ears. All right, we got a winner. Now, I know what you guys are saying. Well, they're brand new. They should be good. Clearly, you guys haven't shopped at the box stores and bought alternators and starters, if you're saying that. It also doesn't matter which side the polarity is. It really has no bearing on this. It's a very crude test, I admit, but it's a test that 7 out of 8 of the old injectors failed. Oh man, last one. Well, I'm very happy. All of these passed that test. So now what you really should do is use some Vaseline around the O-rings to make them go into the rail and the lower manifold nice and easily. However, we're not going to do that. We're going to use WD-40. It's going to be fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. I got to check to make sure that there's no O-rings hanging out up here like that, or that, or that. Okay, so that would have been a fight for no reason. There's one. Okay, the injectors are installed on the rail, and now the uber fun task of getting it all lined up with the lower manifold. Ooh, that's a good sound. All of the injectors have been replaced. I had to replace one more clip that the locking tab was broken on, and I've cleaned the mating surface for the gasket. So I think it's time to put the intake manifold back on. There, it's ready to start. And I mean, it's not ready to start. Okay, it's lined up. Now I gotta feed it some bolts. Now clearly, the most fun one is going to be that center one in the middle. I'm gonna see if I can get in there with my fingertips. At least get the bolt in the hole. That doesn't appear to be a possibility at the moment. I've got the center bolt in its home. I just need to get it threaded in a few threads. I'm sure that's not going to be too hard, right? Oh, okay. I got to feed it the rest of the bolts. This is a super comfortable engine to work on. It's plush. Is that the right word, plush? I forgot how this even goes on back here. I think this goes here. No, I think this goes here. The bolt goes here.
Yes.
And this is the last one. I saved the hardest one for last, like always. That's what you always want to do. Complicate things as much as possible. And it's not optional. This is not one of those extra bolts that they put on. Yeah, I can't feel anything. Okay. All right, we're gonna get this done. All right, I got it. It's in its hole. This is so fun to get to, though. Let's get the corner one done first here. Oopsies. Okay. Bolt one, tight. I'll get one of the front ones done next, just to balance it out here. Well, I got everything except for my socket. I'll take it. I mean, it took it, but I'll take that as a victory. I think I heard it hit the ground. All right, let's get everything tight. The rest of these bolts. Click, click. I'm sure there's a Torx spec, and tight is the Torx spec. All right, last intake bolt. All righty. Now we just got to put everything back together. We're getting there. Okay, EGR pipe is tight. Some more stuff to plug in over here. This vacuum stuff's all rotted. I'm gonna need to replace that, or it'll get replaced one way or the other. Vac leaks for right now. I'm not really sweating it. I know I probably should, but I just want to hear this thing run on 8 cylinders at least. At least 6. 6 would be great. I mean, all right. I'm gonna be disappointed if it doesn't run on all 8 after all this. All right, so we've got some hose clamps, and I think we're about ready to fire this thing up. Moment of truth. Please be my friend today. Hopefully it cranks fast enough. Oh yeah! Oh, it's spraying fuel. Bad, real bad, real bad. Okay, so I forgot to put the Schrader valve back in. Yep. Okay, we're gonna do that again without fuel spraying everywhere, I hope. I'm gonna key on first, maybe the pumps will prime. It's not spraying fuel. It's not running on all the cylinders, but it's running on more than it did before. All right, we're gonna try this again. I didn't change anything, so I'm hoping it runs better. It's definitely not running. I'd say it's like 6 or 7. Let's see if it'll go forward. Oh yeah, she go forward. Oh, there's a big vacuum leak. Let's try this. That's not where that goes, just so you know. We'll have to figure out what cylinder it is. Could be something like a plug wire. Power steering pump's growling at me. Oh, it's doing a big old shake. See if we can figure some things out. Hey, watch out. I don't know if it's fuel delivery or not. It doesn't look like it's leaking fuel. So that's a plus. I could give it some starting fluid and see if it smooths out. The additional fuel may be enough. Yep. Alright. So probably an injector's not firing. I mean, it still could be a computer problem. There's no telling, but it's alive. I went and pulled the plugs. No excitement there. I don't see anything too terrible. I mean, they don't look great, but they're not. They got plenty of life left, is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna get them cleaned up, stab them back in there. We'll see if we still have our misfire, and then maybe I'll spray the plug wires with some water and see if we can see some arcing, and maybe we can figure out why it's misfiring. But I'm not sold that it's a fuel delivery issue just yet. The plugs are back in. I'm ready to fire this thing up again, but before we do that, I want to put some coolant in there. I just want to make sure that it holds coolant. It's probably going to have leaks. It's going to have leaks. The good news is that this truck came with some coolant, I think. What do you guys think? Think we should try this 10-year-old stuff? I'm going to take a whiff of this first. Ooh, it's green. We're going with it. Is this premix? Full strength. Nothing but the best. That wasn't too low. It's nice that this truck's kind of at an angle. It'll be easier to bleed the cooling system. You know, not that we're going to go take this down the highway or anything, but... All right, so I took all of that, and that was only about halfway full, but we have another one. Oh, it's unopened, so I know it's good. Is this full strength? Doesn't say. It's fine. I think that's probably good for now. I mean, it's... Like I said, we're not going to be sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic in this thing. I really don't know if I want to drive it. There's a lot of work that needs to be done just to be able to take it on public roads, and this video is already an hour long, so at this point. Well, let's fire it up and see what happens. Well, it didn't make it any better, I don't think. Sure sucked the coolant down though. Let's give it some revs. Oh, now she's really shaking. Smoking a little bit. Just kidding. Sounds strange. So it's obviously missing. We're gonna have to figure out what cylinder it's missing on. And who knows, it may smooth out. It's not smoking too bad. Yeah, see, I can't drive on, I mean, I could drive on that, but I'm not gonna drive on that. I'm gonna let this thing run for a minute. And we'll see what it does when it has some temperature. See if it's any better. Check engine light, ABS, and brake light. Parking brake's not on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's empty. Oh. Okay. Well, the odds of driving it just keep getting worse because it's leaking brake fluid right here. That line is ruptured. I could put a new line on it, but I also don't want to strip it at the wheel cylinder or at this junction here. It's like, where do you start and stop? This thing's been sitting for a decade. It's obviously a project truck. I'm not trying to restore this thing. I just want to see if I can get it to run. I think we can still move it. The smoking really stopped, which is good, but still running on what I believe is 7. There's 5 injectors that I can get to, and I've unplugged each of them, and they all make a difference, but one of them doesn't make as big a difference, which tells me if you have maybe a little low compression in one cylinder, that's this front cylinder on the driver's side. It still makes a difference, though, and it still could be a wiring problem. I mean, mice were in this thing. But it's not overheating. Heat works. It's got good oil pressure. I mean, that's about as much as you could hope for, all things considered. So this is going to be a little bit different. This is not part of trying to get this thing fixed. This is more of a side quest. This is a computer or an ECM that has the exact same strategy code, so same part number as this truck. And this has been floating around for probably a year or so. And it's claimed to be bad. We sold it. It passed on our rig, which I'll leave a link for our testing apparatus in the video description. But I want to plug it into the truck and see if it starts. I don't expect it to fix the misfire whatsoever. This is more of a, while I'm here and while I have this type of thing, I'm not even going to pull the original computer out. I'm just going to unplug it and plug it into this one. Yeah, it came out. Sometimes the little threaded insert breaks off in the computer. That's a bad time. Really, really bad time. That is enough to total a truck. I don't see any chewed on wires at this connector, so that's good. Now, obviously, there's more than just running that this computer does. It controls the transmission function, but I want to know that it runs. Let's see here. Will you run? Is it running better? No. 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 No, I don't think it is. Let's give it some revs here. No. I don't think it runs any better. Well, I've buttoned some things up, mainly the intake tubes. There's a few more things I could do as far as getting the EGR system put back together, but there's no vacuum leaks there, there's no problems there. It's just not functional, which is fine for right now. I could also put the linkage back on the throttle cable, but I'm not going to do that either. So I was going to put this set of wheels and tires on here if I could drive it, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to drive this thing. Now, what I have done is I have essentially put a clamp on the rear brake lines, and that means the rear brakes don't work, which is essentially like a line lock situation. So I filled it up with brake fluid, and then I heard some noises, and it ruptured a front brake hose or line. This is why I didn't want to drive this thing on the road, because unless I do like all the brake lines, all the suspension, the brakes, I have this thing about living and also making sure other people stay living, and this truck could kill somebody. So now what? Well, I think I am going to put the wheels and tires on, because I can't even roll it with the Chevy truck wheel on here, as that wheel is not the right size. It doesn't fit over the hub correctly. So I think I'm just going to throw the wheels and tires on here, and then I need to figure out how to get this down to the lower driveway so we can clean it up, see what this truck actually looks like. We got the wheels swapped over. It looks pretty good. And no, those are not factory Ford Alcoas. They look a little bit different. Similar, but it looks a lot better. Unfortunately, there's just not enough time in my life to fix all the little issues with this truck so that we can take it down the road. And it's also kind of a liability. You know, have to drive it on my dealer tag, and that's kind of risky considering the condition of this truck. If I get in a wreck, I don't want to make a claim. So now I have to figure out how to get this to my lower driveway. It does drive, it just doesn't stop. So we're going to see if the parking brake works. All right. Parking brake engage. It doesn't drive. Will it drive on the parking brake? Oh, crap. It will stop the truck. Oof, this is going to be dangerous. Here goes everything. It's going to be fine. I mean, I only have all my own cars to hit. Wait, is it running on 8 cylinders? It sounds good. Maybe it went from 6 to 7. I don't know. Alright, this is the bad part. Let me push the parking brake down a little further. Alright, there's reverse. Alright then. My foot is on the parking brake right now. Ooh, I hit something. I think I hit the bumper. I've done some sketchy things, and, well, this is just another one of those sketchy things. Well, we are moving. Poor parking brake. I am sorry. I have a lot of trust in that thing right now. Oh boy. These are backup plans. I hope I don't need them. Oh boy. What have I signed myself up for?
Don't you go dying on me now.
Yeah. Bad. This is nerve-wracking. I'm in neutral, by the way. I'm making the turn. I'm gonna need some go juice here. Oh, pucker, 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 pucker! I really don't want to use this much throttle. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're in neutral. Drive a little bit. All right. A little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah. Success. Now it's time to give it its first bath in probably a decade. Just gonna hit with the power washer. We're not doing a full detail or anything crazy like that. I just want to see how good it looks or maybe how bad it looks. Putting some soap on it, kind of loosen up all this junk. Then we'll hit it with the power washer. Oh, that's white too. Uh-oh, we're losing a little paint. Oh yes, she'll get cleaned. I think I need something a little more aggressive. This takes a lot off, but it doesn't take it all off. I can't believe how rough this is. I mean, even this. I think we can get this paint back a little bit. Man. All right, I'm gonna go crazy and power wash the roof. I'm not gonna do that on camera because it's just so thick, it's not even gonna look like anything. And then I'm gonna start scrubbing. Well, I know it looks pretty good on camera, but there's still a lot of this embedded mold and junk, so we're gonna try to give it some scrubbing. We need to make this thing look as good as we can. Let's do it on the fender, and we'll try a little bit on the hood and see what that looks like. I'm gonna do half the hood and show you guys the difference. So I don't know how well this will show, but you can see which side I scrubbed. So now I'm gonna do the rest of this truck. We'll see how good this thing can look. I mean, when I say the rest of the truck, the rest of the cab, I'm not gonna do that fiberglass box. Admittedly, it's still a little wet in places, but it still looks good. I am not a detailer. I probably could have done this a lot better if I were. I have cleaned up cars before, so I'm happy to make it white again. If it looked like this when it went through the auction, it probably would have brought way more than 500 bucks. There's a little bit of damage on the doors. Looks like the mirror took a little hit. There's a few bumps and bruises pretty much everywhere, but it looks good. These trucks they just do something that the next generation of Ford trucks just couldn't do for me. I didn't even really do a lot of pretty much anything in here. I cleaned the inside of the door a little bit. It looks way better when you can see through the glass. I bet with a proper detail, you know, somebody that had the time to put into it, this thing would look really good. I did clean up a little bit in here. I didn't go crazy, didn't really feel like it was necessary, but it was also just as dirty under here. It still is pretty dirty. You could definitely make this look a lot better. Still really happy with the way this truck turned out, all things considered. I could keep going and going. We could do a compression and a leak down test. We could check physical timing. We could try to figure out why it doesn't run on all 8 cylinders, and then we can put brake lines on it, find out it needs wheel cylinders and calipers, rotors, pads, drums, shoes, then front wheel bearings, and then find out that the suspension is what you would expect for something as old as this is that sat as long as this did. It's tough to draw the line. It really is. My personal projects, even cars that I fix to sell, I try to make them as perfect as my hands can make them to a fault, which is why I can acquire them really easily and they never ever seem to make it up for sale, because I try to make them perfect. Wouldn't make a good used car salesman, not at all. But it's time to let go. It's time to pass the torch. Someone can see a future with this. I'm sure many of you can. These OBS trucks are pretty tough to find in the Midwest in this condition. I'm about $1,300 in it, so that's my price. I'm not trying to make any money on this truck. I'd like to pass the good deal off to one of you guys. You guys watch my videos all the time. I want to say thank you. So someone may be able to see this one through. Maybe it's just a parts truck with a clean title that you could cab swap something else that's not as nice, or maybe you want to put the work and effort into this and drive it. Maybe you put a different bed on it, or maybe you like that bed. But one thing is for certain, whoever buys this truck is going to find out what is in the right side of the right cabinets on the bed. It's not going to be me. I don't have the time, and maybe there's stacks of cash in there. Maybe there's some really nice tools in there. I don't know. It could be nothing at all. It's the next person's grab bag. Just look at it that way. I hope you enjoyed this video. I can only sell this truck once, and I assume this video will be out for quite some time. So you may catch it after it's already gone. But if you are the lucky one, you can email me. I'll leave my email in this video. Again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Will I do another one of these? You know, I keep saying that every time I do this, it's going to be the last. And then 8 months later, I buy another vehicle. So I'm not going to tell you it's going to be the last because I would be lying. I really hope you enjoyed this video as always. I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all. And I'll catch you on the next one.